සැදැහැති ජනයා පූජා කරන ලෙස සුරපුර සිරිය පරයන රම්‍ය විමාන බැතියෙන් බලව දළදා හිමි වැඩ සිටින
ඔබ සැමට උතුම් දළදා සමිඳු සරණයි. ක්‍රිස්තු වර්ෂ 4 වෙනි සියවසෙහි හේමමාලා කුමරිය සහ දන්ත කුමරුවන් විසින් මෙරටට වඩමන ලද අති උතුම් වාමශ්‍රී දන්තධාතුන් වහන්සේ වෙනුවෙන් පිදෙන දස දිනක පෙරහරමය පූජෝපහාරය. ඉදින් 1716 වෙනි කන්දුඩ රට ඇසල පෙරහර මංගල්ලේ සිව්වන කුඹල් පෙරහරෙහි සමාරම්භය අද මෙලෙසින් සනිටුහන් වනවා. පසරු 6:40ට යෙදුණු සුබ මුහුර්තියෙන් මෙවර සිව්වන කුඹල් පෙරහර විදි සරන්නට යෙදුණා. පුලතිසි රාජා මංගල හස්ති රාජයාත් මියන් රාජා සහ සිංහ රාජා දෑලේ ගමන් කරමින් මෙවර පෙරහර විදි සරන්නට නියමිතයි. ඉතින් ආරාධනා කරනවා දළදා මාලිගාවේ නිල සමාජ මාධ්‍ය පිටු ඔස්සේත් ෆ්‍රීසැට් නාලිකා අංක 2, ඩයලොග් TV නාලිකා අංක 20, පියෝ TV නාලිකා අංක 20 310 ඔස්සේ මේ සියලු සජීවී දසුන් ඔබට නැරඹීමට හැකියි. ඉතින් ආරාධනා කරනවා දැයි උරුමය ලොවට කියාපාන මේ මහා සංස්කෘතික පෙළහරත් සමගින් ඒකාත්මික වන ලෙස. கோஷிகன்.
நன்றி ரவிகார். அனைவருக்கும் இனிய மாலை வணக்கம். 1716வது முறையாக எடுக்கப்படுகின்ற கண்டி ஸ்ரீ தலதா மாளிகையின் 4வது கும்பல் பிரகரா வீதி வலம் வந்து கொண்டிருக்கின்றது. முதல் முறையாக புலத்திசி யானை மீது புத்த பெருமானுடைய புனித தந்த பேழையினை எடுத்து வருகின்ற காட்சிகளை நேரடியாக நீங்கள் காண முடியும். கண்டி மாநகரில் சூழ்ந்துள்ள அனைவரையும் வருக வருக என வரவேற்பதுடன் இக்காட்சிகளை நீங்கள் நேரடியாக காண முடியாவிடின் டயலாக் தொலைக்காட்சி 20, பியோ டிவி 20310, ஃப்ரீசெட் 2 மற்றும் ஸ்ரீ தலதா மாளிகையின் யூடியூப் ஃபேஸ்புக் பக்கங்களினூடாக நேரலையாக கண்டுகளிக்க முடியும். அனைவருக்கும் சுபம் சௌபாக்கியம் வேண்டி பிரார்த்தித்துக் கொள்கின்றோம். பத்மி.
Thank you, Goshi. Today, the 4th Kumbal Perahera will be happening at the auspicious hour of 6:40 p.m. toward the auspicious direction of north. Today, for the very first time, the Pulatisi Raja will carry the sacred relic casket accompanied by the noble tuskers Singha Raja and Mian Raja. Watch us on Channel 20 on Dialogue Television, Channel 20 on Pure TV, Channel 2 on FreeSearch. Stay connected with Dalada Maligawa social media platform. May the blessings of Esala Perahera be with you all.
Dalada Samidu Pehetai. We are delighted to welcome you to the special live broadcast of the 4th Kumbal procession of the Kandy Esala Perahera 2026, brought to you by the Media and Special Projects Bureau of the Sri Dalada Maligawa, Kandy. You are now seeing the Perahera officials obtaining the permission and blessings of the Diyavadana Nilame, the lay custodian of the sacred tooth relic, before commencing their street perambulations.
Now we see ceremoniously and reverentially the Perahera casket being carried under the protection of the custodian venerating prelate of the Asgiri Mahavihara, Kandy.
We are now seeing the Perahera casket, which contains 32 relics of Lord Buddha being placed within the Ranhilige that is mounted on the lavishly costumed tusker who will uplift the majesty of this great procession.
These officials are seen offering flowers and floral garland to the Perahera casket. And this is the 4th Kumbal Perahera of Kandy Esala Perahera 2026. Today, the royal tusker Pulatisi Raja of Sri Dalada Maligawa will be carrying the Perahera casket for the first time in history. This is the devout moment when the royal tusker shall step majestically down from the Mahavahal Kada, the main entrance, onto the Sandagala, the moonstone, amidst the tune of the traditional Nagasinga music, in preparation to parade the streets of the Kandian city. On this year 2026, we are witnessing the grace of the 1716 Perahera that had begun during the reign of King Kirtisri Meghavarna, who pledged that the relics must be carried around the city once a year. And this tradition still continues, followed by the succession of many kings, prime ministers, and presidents of our country. And this is the 4th Kumbal Perahera of Kandy Esala Perahera 2026, brought to you by the Media and Special Projects Bureau of Sri Dalada Maligawa, Kandy.
Walking up front with the sound of thundering whips piercing through the skies are the whip crackers announcing that the procession has commenced, and these whip masters are tasked with clearing the way for the sacred relic casket and the king.
When looking back at history in the ancient times, it was the ruling king who would parade the streets in the Perahera. But now it is the Diyavadna Nilame, the lay custodian of the sacred tooth relic of Lord Buddha, who will resemble the king in the modern day Perahera.
The Perahera is believed to be held in prayer for timely rainfall, and the elements of the Perahera is structured in the symbolical way that it paints the imagery of a rainfall. Rain would never be showered without the striking sound of thunder And these whip wielders are the symbolic imagery to depict the sound of lightning and thunder to pay homage to the rain gods, requesting to bless our crops and cultivations with rain.
The whip master's duty is handed down from generation to generation of their clans, and only those who have mastered the art of whip cracking will be taken to participate in the Kandy Esala Perahera. According to traditions, a Perahera which does not have this pedigree are not being even called such. In a single file, we see the whip masters carefully manipulating their whips that is nearly 7 feet in length.
It can be noticed how these whip masters are untying the knots that are formed with the whipping, and that is symbolic to the various problems that we face in this journey of life, where we too spend a careful expense of mind in untying our problems down our own walk down the journey of life.
The cooling breeze that blows from the surrounding, from the Udawata forest on the right and from the Kandy lake on the left, certainly creates the feel of how nature too contributes to the Perahera by displaying its unmatched unique forms of beauty to this Perahera that shall bless our country.
Many onlookers who are seated around the city of Kandy to witness this Perahera can be seen throwing thousands of coins to the streets in the belief that this practice will ward off and evil from their loved ones and for blessings from the sacred tooth relic.
Indeed, this is the beauty of that tradition that highlights the basis for giving, offering, and sharing among the people of our land. Sri Lankans are among the top in the world's giving index. That is indeed an outcome from the social influence of Lord Buddha's teaching.
Regardless of how rich or poor they are, they offer their coins in great devotion and joy to the Perahera as their minds are conditioned to giving. And today, the group of whip crackers is led by Mr. Upali Jayaratna.
When talking about the whip that is nearly 7 feet in length and is fully made out of natural materials known as Nyanga or Navapatta, which indicates how traditions have preserved and the authentic methods have not changed throughout the parading history of 1716 years.
Rain does not come with thunder alone. Just as lightning flashes across the skies, the procession too has its flashes of light dancing across the faces of the people lining the streets to watch. These are the fire dancers who are offering fire, inviting the rain gods to water our lands with rain.
Even though it seems very paradox to learn that we offer fire for sake of water, this phenomenon of nature is magnificently depicted by this group of fireball dancers who perform this thrilling stunt of acrobatics while illustrating how lightning comes with rain.
The turning of fireball is called Pandampalia, which paints the night with varied patterns of light using both hands and feet, along with thrilling episodes of fire stunts. The fireball dance is performed in 3 levels that are known as Binthalaya, low level, Medathalaya, mid level, and Ahasthalaya, the sky level, that is definitely the highlighted episode of the fireball dance that is performed standing on each other in great discipline and balance.
The sun, moon, earth, universe, solar month, night and day are all cyclic. And the fireball dance that highlight these universal cycles while depicting how they burn and cool us in our life cycles. The dancers also paint the fierce sansara that is flooded with desire, ignorance, and anger that are highlighted by these chakras.
The splendor of the dance is seen when a large group of them perform simultaneously, merging their various fiery elements into an amazing display of light and heat. The tradition is handed down from generation to generation, with individuals of all ages, from the very young to the very old, taking part in the display of the priceless and cultural heritage of their clans. Today, the group of fire acrobats is led by Mr. E.D. Tilakaratna.
These fireball dancers have been performing in Kandy Esala Perahera for many years, and on this occasion itself, we are not just seeing one but several generations of artists representing the team of fireball dancers. The dancers are seen creating their painting of fire across the night sky as they move in this procession. For children, it is fire play, but for the experienced elders, it is a devote and commitment for offering of fire.
Next in line of the procession are the Buddhist flag bearers who are clad in white national costumes, who are carrying the most respected flag of Buddhism while being preceded by the national flag of Sri Lanka. The sight of these Buddhist flags create a sense of tranquility among the spectators, reminding us the fact that this procession is in celebration, devotion, and an offering to the great Lord Buddha.
The Buddhist flag is a symbol of faith and peace. The 6 colors of the flag represent the colors of the aura that are emanated from the body of Lord Buddha when he attained enlightenment under the sacred Bodhi tree. The horizontal stripes represent the races of the world living in harmony, while the vertical stripes represent eternal world peace.
The flag bearers we see here are the inmates of the Pallikale open prison camp who have been staying in this segment in Perahera for many years.
Walking in great discipline, in their calm and disciplined nature, are the army of sword bearers who provide protection to the Perahera casket.
Clad in white sarong and a white headdress, this army is seen carrying the raised swords not in warfare but in disciplined walk of calm serenity. The symbolic idea of these sword bearers is a historic protection that is provided with utmost might to the sacred tooth relic. For those who know about the history of the sacred tooth relic would be patriotically proud of our history and the heroic personalities who always protected the sacred tooth relic with highest levels of bravery.
We now see the most magnificent sight of the Perahera, which is the arrival of the very first elephant who will be carrying the Peramune Rala.
And the elephant who is carrying the Peramune Rala is the elephant Banda from Ratnapura.
It is the norm of the Perahera that the Peramune Rala, or the front runner of the procession, is the first person on the elephant back, and neither officials nor elephants are permitted to parade before the Peramune Rala.
Clad in the traditional white costume that comprises of the white jacket and tranquil hat, the Peramune Rala comes into view carrying the secretarial scroll known as the Lanka meteor, which is encased in the long cylindrical silver casket. The particular scroll that is encased in this casket is made of ora leaves, a traditional form of paper of the native Sri Lankans, and this scroll contains a full description of the procession, royal duties and assets affiliated to the Sri Dalada Maligawa.
This is the arrival of the first Hevisi troupe that represents the official music ensemble who are permanently seconded to serve the Sri Dalada Maligawa.
They perform in dignified presence in front of the procession as a tradition which they practice with majestic skill. In fact, no Panchature Vadana or traditional orchestra of Sinhalese music that produce sounds using either drums or other musical instruments is permitted before the Hevisi as per the rule of the Kandy Perahera tradition.
Sri Lanka is rich with its own genre of traditional music, and Hevisi, which is dignified as the authentic sound of Sri Lanka. The history of Hevisi takes back to the time when the sapling of Jayashree Mahapodhi tree was brought down to Sri Lanka by Sangamitha Therani. And this evidence marks the fact that Hevisi is the oldest traditional orchestra and Buddhist sound offering in Sri Lankan heritage.
Hevisi, as the most prominent orchestra of the fivefold musical instruments, too has its own variants that are authentic to various parts of the country known as upcountry, low country and Sabaragamuwa. The speciality of the Kandy Esala Perahera is the pure domination of upcountry traditional arts. Therefore, this particular Hevisi instrumental performance belongs to the upcountry tradition of Hevisi, which is known as Udarata Hevisi in Sinhalese.
The five-fold musical instrument, as recognized by the Sri Lankan music culture, are as Panchathuryanada, is noted as Arthatha, instruments played by both hands, Vitatha, instruments played by sticks, Vitathathatha, instruments played using hands and stick, Gana, instruments that are dashed with each other, and Shushira, instruments that are blown. This arrangement of upcountry ensemble of Hevisi consists of 4 out of the 5 mentioned tunes, except for the Gatabere that represents the Arthatha tune. If we could identify the other instruments that are played here, we see the Horanava, or the traditional windpipe that represents the tune of Susira. The beauty of Hevisi evolves when all the 4 mentioned instruments that are played together to make a symphonic sound that is noted, where these instruments are played only according to the traditional rule.
Riding on the second elephant with dignified majesty is the Gajanayaka Nilame of the Sri Dalada Maligawa. And Gajanayaka Nilame is carried by the Tusker Kotte Raja from Kotte Rajamahabihara. The Gajanayaka Nilame is a royal official in charge of the king's troop of elephants, and it was a position given to him directly by the king himself. To symbolize this ancient degree, the Gajanayaka Nilame, who is attired in the traditional Sinhala Mul Anduma, majestically approaches on a tusker while holding the Ankus or the Ankusaya, which is the official symbol of the Gajanayaka Nilame.
And now we are witnessing the Kottala Padaya dance troupe. Kottala Padaya is one of the most gentle dance performances of the upcountry tradition of dance, which is traditionally a dance of purity. The dancers carry a pot of saffron water on one hand and an erica nut flower on the other hand. And this dance symbolizes purifying the root in the sacred tooth relic, casket that shall be carried.
The Kothala Padaya is in fact a ritualistic dance that is performed in healing rituals or Shanti Karma across upcountry, low country and Sabaragama traditions, and here we are seeing the upcountry version of the Kothala Padaya, which originates from the Kohoma Kankarya healing ritual as one of the 4 Hat Padaya or 7 dance episodes that comprise of the Bulat Padaya, Kothala Padaya, Mal Padaya, Salu Padaya, Pol Padaya and so on. And now we see an official carrying the Buddhist flag on the mouth of the Tusker Dalada from Ratnapura.
In fact, if you notice closely, you could see the elephant dresses are quite simple and white in color during the Kumbal Perahera festivities. This is the arrival of the first Nayandi troupe.
The Nayandi dance is one of the most significant dance performances of the upcountry tradition that holds a very prominent position in the Kandy Esala Perahera, especially during the Kumbal Perahera festivities. And this first troupe of Nayandi dancers is led by Mr. Saman Nilvita.
The word Nayandi is in fact the name of the costume that is worn by the Nayandi dancers, in which the same costume that is worn by the Kandian West dancer with the exclusion of the devoted headdress that is replaced with a cloth turban with a knot on the head center that is taking the shape of a cobra.
The speciality of Nayandi dancing is that the dance is primarily performed by the primitive Kandian artists who have not yet been attained reverentially as a West dancer, and any dance artist who aspires to crown as a Kandian West dancer would first need to master the skill of Nayandi in order to proceed.
And an important fact to be mentioned is that the Nayandi dance is said to be belonging to the classification of Rupa Natum due to its visual richness in attraction that this dance is known as Adaves, meaning half of the West costume, and at times even known as Tanikachi, that relates to the special head turban that is worn by the Nayandi dancers.
And now we see an official carrying the brass umbrella on the mount of the Tusker Janaraja from Sri Dalada Maligawa.
And Janaraja is mentioned to be specially mentioned. He is having one of the most beautiful tusks in Sri Lanka. And now we see the mixed folk dance of the procession Sri Dalada Maligawa.
Traditional dancing in Sri Lanka is segregated into two main types, which are the Shastriya Natum or dance performances that are based on healing rituals, and the other being gaminatum or folk dance performances. The dance that we see now is a remarkable fusion of not just one, but 4 different folk dance performances being danced simultaneously in the same spotlight.
Here we see the dance artists presenting 4 different folk dances, which are the Talampata, the Likeli, Rabang and the Savarang, which we could see being performed as individual dance items across all 5 segments of the majestic Perahera. And this particular dance act is certainly a snapshot of the beauty of the Sri Lankan folk dance culture.
Folk dancing is also known as Jananatum or Gaminatum, which are dance items that represent the culture of the native village lifestyles of Sri Lanka. These dance acts have no ritualistic regulations that need to be strictly adhered to in comparison to the Shastriya dance acts. In fact, there is a lot of space left for creativity in designing the choreography, costumes, tunes, and other elements, attraction, keeping in mind not to harm the authenticity of the dance as how it was passed down upon generations. today, this mixed folk dancing troupe is led by PCB Vijay Surya. Now we see officials carrying the brass umbrellas on the mount of the Tuskers Kandulavira from Sankapitti Vihara Kaduvala and the elephant Taraka from Rankandu Pattini Devalaya.
And these brass umbrellas brings a sense of respect and dignity to this wonderful pageant. And now we see the entrance of the Pantheru dance troupe.
The Panterua is a musical instrument that is used as a rhythm tool across all three traditions of upcountry, low country and Sabaragamba. But the Pantheru dance is exclusively belonging to the Udarata or upcountry tradition of dance.
This instrument is a small brass circular frame castanet with 5 cymbals fixed to it, which gives a subtle metallic sound as it shakes. It was originally used to keep the beat in the chamber of versifiers or the Kavikara Madhua, and is considered as one of the authentic tunes that are engaged with the sound offering associated with Dalada Puja. The Kavikara Madhua is one of the 5 types of upcountry performing arts that refers to the chanting group of the Perahera, which we will see today walking behind the royal tusker carrying the relic casket.
Kumuru dancing troupe is led by Mr. Sarath Vijay.
An important fact to be mentioned about Pantheru dance is that it is one of the most authentic form of dance in hill capital, Kandy.
Now we see the officials carrying brass umbrella on the mount of the Tuskers, Sindhu from Malpatu Mahaviharaya, Tusker Vasana from Ruhunu Mahakataragama Devalaya, and Tusker Raju from Askiri Mahaviharaya.
Now we can see that majestic movement where these three Tuskers are taking on this perambulation. And these officials who are carrying the brass umbrella on the mount of these three Tuskers symbolizes the sense of dignity, pride and protection to the upcoming Relic casket. And this is the fourth Kumbal Perahera of Kandy Esala Perahera 2026. Tonight, the Perahera commenced at 6:40 p.m. facing north, and the Perahera will proceed along the Dalada street, then onto the E.L. Senanayaka street. Finally, they turn on to the King street and return to the temple of the sacred Truth Relic. In fact, only few members of the Tuskers who are privileged to carry the sacred Tooth Relic. And among those Tuskers, we can easily identify the Tusker Vasana. Who is in fact in the middle of these two Tuskers today. And this live broadcast is brought to you by the Media and Special Projects Bureau of Sri Dalada Maligawa, Kandy.
most unique and most recognized presentation of the Kandian dance heritage is the most fully adorned West Natua or the Kandian West dancer. The Kandian dancer's skill and dance form have been considered as an authentic expression of Sri Lankan culture.
In fact, it is the icon of the West dancer who is the branding of the traditional Sri Lankan dancing across the seven seas, despite the presence of many artistic dance performances, which are authentic to the traditional Sri Lankan dance culture. It is amusing to hear that this is the same picture that is illustrated on anyone's mind when they hear the phrase Sri Lankan dance, which we could be certainly proud of.
The West dance is more than a ritual, it is a sacred recitation for protection against misfortune. Therefore, the costume of these dancers are also considered sacred. The most glamorous costume symbolically represents the regalia of the King Malaya, the royalty who performed the ancient ritual of Hetapas Mangalya, which is a healing ceremony that was held 2500 years ago.
It was in the 4th century BC when the first ever Hetapas Mangalaya was performed in Sri Lanka by the Malaya king to cure a Devidos or a godly curse that had been bestowed upon King Panduvas Deva, who is in fact a descendant of King Vijaya, the Indian prince who discovered the land of Sri Lanka as Tambapanni. The story of King Vijaya and his tribal wife Kueni is in fact the birth story of the royal tradition of Kandian dancing, which is a quite interesting fact.
And this West dancing troupe today is led by Mr. Ishantha Ihlabella and Mr. Lasantha Vansekara.
And if you follow the Kumbal Perahera festivities of Kandy Esala Perahera, you would notice that only two groups of West dance will be taking place. In fact, the West dance troops will increase when we are moving on to the Randoli Perahera. Dressed in the white Tupotia costume, that is the Karya Karavana Korala, who is the royal official that holds the responsibility for all engagement in regard to the offering, the Perahera and the relic casket. He is only seconded to the Diyavada Nilame and is the only person in the Perahera who has the permission to walk forward and backwards during the Perahera. The very special orchestra that leads the relic casket are the Nagasingam instrumentalists, which is an Indian-influenced ensemble of music that plays its authentic tune of music to escort the relic casket, as a part of the tradition that we conduct in Lord Buddha's origin country, India too. This was added to Perahera from the time of King Veera Parakrama Narendra Singha. And this is the exact forementioned Nagasingam music.
This is the most awaited and the pinnacle moment of the Perahera, arrival of the sacred relic casket of the 4th Kumbal procession. Today, the relic casket is carrying by Tasker Pulatisi Raja belongs to Sri Dalada Maligawa as the ceremonial Tasker. Pulatisi Raja is carrying the sacred relic casket for the first time in an Esala Perahera. And he is accompanied by the Tasker Miyad Raja from Sri Dalada Maligawa as well as the Tasker Singha Raja from Sri Dalada Maligawa.
Let us now take a moment to feel the devotion and worship the sacred tooth relic of Lord Buddha. This is the chamber of versifiers of the Kavikara Maduwa, the group of poets who walk behind the relic casket while singing the virtues of Lord Buddha. These versifiers are holding several instruments, including the Panterua, the Udakya, and the speciality of the Kavikara Maduwa is that these versifiers only perform when the relic casket is taken out of the relic chamber, and shall sing until it is reverentially placed back after the Perahera. This too is in fact an offering of King Veera Parakrama Narendra Singha to the sacred tooth relic.
Now we are seeing the second West dancing troupe that is led by Mr. Sanjeeva Verapitiya and Mr. Peter Surasena. In fact, it is this icon of the West dancer who is branding identity of traditional Sri Lankan dancing across the 7 seas despite the presence of many artistic dance performances that are authentic to Sri Lankan traditional dance. It is amusing to hear that it is this same picture that is illustrated on anyone's mind when they hear the phrase Sri Lankan dance, which we could be certainly proud of. The West dance is more than just a ritual, it is a sacred recitation for protection against misfortune. Therefore, the costume of these dancers are also considered sacred. West dancing was considered as a part of royalty itself, where it was formally associated with the kings since ancient times. When going down history, the West dance was performed in the time of the Anuradhapura kingdom, and this had been rebranded as a Kandian dance only after the royalty had shifted to the kingdom of Kandy.
And following the West dance troupe, we see the arrival of the Basnayaka Nilame of the Sri Maha Kataragama Devalaya in Kandy. The Basnayaka Nilame of the Sri Maha Kataragama Devalaya in Kandy, Honorable Daminda Bandara Udunuvara, who is also Uduravana, who is also the Basnayaka Nilame of the Paska Manatha Devalaya of Heva Hatta. We see the Basnayaka Nilame of Sri Maha Kataragama Devalaya in Kandy, Honorable Daminda Bandara Uduravana, who is walking under the Muthukudaya or the Pearl Umbrella, surrounded by his army of guards and followed by the Vidanis. And with that, now we are witnessing the commencement of the Sri Maha Natha Devalaya procession. The Sri Mahanatha Devalaya in Kandy is located in front of the Sri Dalada Maligawa, where it is considered as the main shrine that is dedicated towards Lord Natha, which is in fact the oldest buildings in Kandy that was built even before the Sri Dalada Maligawa. And now we see the Buddhist flag bearers of the Sri Mahanatha Devalaya procession.
Now we see an official carrying the flag on the mount of the elephant, Rohana, that belongs to Mr. Varuna Kannangara.
It is the tradition that the first elephant to take part in the procession of God Natha shall carry an official with a unique flag that is described as the flag of Senkadagala, which depicts an artistic visualization of God Natha.
And this is the Hevisi troupe of Natha Esala Perahera, led by S.Y.G. Priyantha Premalal Vijayaratna.
Just like how the Hevisi troupe of Sri Dalada Maligawa procession engages their own routine offering, the Hevisi troops of the four Devalaya Peraheras are the actual lineages who still perform in the daily, weekly, monthly and the annual rites and the rituals of the particular Devalayas, as Hevisi is not just a part of the Sri Dalada Maligawa's ritual, but is also similarly important to the offering of the Devalaya shrines as the main Sabda Puja or offering towards the respective god.
we see the officials carrying the Buddhist flags on the mount of the elephants Tissa Maharama Kandula that belongs to Devalegama Dhammasena Thero and the elephant Sumana that belongs to Boralande Jnanasara Thero.
According to the legend of God Natha, the well-known fact is that the belief that he is next in line to attain Buddhahood as Maitri Bodhisattva, where he is also identified as Avalokiteshvara in Indian cults. The iconography of God Natha is shown as a gentle young man of fair complexion who holds a lotus flower on his left hand. He is in fact famed as one of the most dominant gods associated in hill country.
Now we see the Rabban dancing troupe of Natha Devala procession, which is led by Mr. Anjana Gamage. The Rabana or hand tambourine is a very popular object used in the folk dancing tradition in Sri Lanka, but this is no such dance even though we see the presence of the tambourine in play. The performance which involves spinning of the tambourine, which makes it more of a sporting performance than a dance item, and that is why this act is known as Rabban Karakavima or Rabban Krita in Sinhalese.
The legend of God Natha takes us down through many cults in Buddhism, including the Mahayana and Theravada traditions, where he is predominantly associated as the future Buddha. In Sri Lanka history, there are recorded evidence and mentions of God Natha in the Sandesha of Tisara, Gira and Koul, where God Natha was one of the prime deities who seeked by the ancient kings of Sri Lanka.
Followed by the Rabban dancing troupe, here we see the elephant Sudu Mahatya that belongs to Mr. Tilina Gamage and the tusker Lasanda that belongs to Devdara Sri Vishnu Devala. And now we see the Nayandi dancing troupe of Natha Esala Perahera that is led by Mr. Pradeep Indika Attaragama.
An amazing fact behind the Sri Mahanatha Devalaya is that it was a sacred site which was used for naming and crowning of the new kings during the ancient Kandian era. The inheritors of the crown would customarily visit the Vishnu Devalaya first and then arrive at the Sri Mahanatha Devalaya to pick their favored name as the king among the golden plates of names, and then be crowned amidst all worship and respect. And following the Nayandi dance troupe, we see the chief prelate of the Sri Mahanatha Devalaya.
Now it is a sacred moment of carrying the godly ornaments of god Natha on the mount of the elephant Kandulatissa that belongs to Ratnapura Mahasaman Devalaya. He is assisted by the elephant Vauru Kannala Arjuna that belongs to Karatota Panyasila Thero and Mirigama Sita that belongs to Nilanti Veerasingha.
Let us now take a moment to feel the devotion and to worship the godly ornaments of Lord Natha. And now we are witnessing the commencement of the Sri Mahavishnu Devalaya.
The Sri Mahavishnu Devalaya in Kandy, that is also prominently identified as the Mahadevalaya or the Great Shrine, is a main shrine in the hill capital that is dedicated to Lord Vishnu.
The unique collection of flags in front of us are known as the provincial flags. These include the uniquely designed flags for the 12 states and 9 counties that were under the rule of the ancient Kandian kingdom. The only collection of flags that are being carried in the procession of Sri Mahavishnu Devalaya would be the Palat Kodi, or the flags that represent the states and counties of Sri Lanka, according to the ancient administrative divisions that were divided in history. The reason why we see the state flags leading the procession of God Vishnu is simply to devote the fact that Lord Vishnu is a guardian deity of Sri Lanka.
Now we see the elephant Suranimala that is carrying an official on the Vishnu Esala Perahera.
It is the tradition that the first elephant to take part in the procession of the Sri Mahavishnu Devalaya shall carry an official holding the flag of Irahanda Kodiya, or the flag that illustrates the sun and the moon. And with that, we see the entrance of the Hevisi group of Sri Mahavishnu Devalaya.
And this Hevisi troop is led by Mr. Saman Priyantha Arambe Gedara.
The Hevisi troop of Sri Mahavishnu Devalaya is notably special among all the other Hevisi troops that we see throughout this procession, based on several importance. As we know, the inaugural ritual of the Kandy Esala Perahera is the Kapsituvima, or the planting of the jack. And this piece of jack plant is being cut from the village of Alutnuvara that is located in the footsteps of Kadugar Nava, which marks the entrance to the Kandy district, and is also known for the Alutnuvara Sri Dadimunda Devalaya, that is the main shrine in Sri Lanka that is dedicated to God Dadimunda.
The chosen piece of jack plant or kappa is ceremoniously brought all the way from Alutnuvara Sri Dadimunda Devalaya premises to the Dadimunda Devalaya in Kandy on the mount of a tusker along a distance of 25 kilometers. The Dadimunda Devalaya in Kandy is located in the Sri Mahavishnu Devalaya premises itself, and this is where the main piece of jack plant shall be cut into 4 equal quarters and distributed to the other 3 Devala shrines on the mounts of the 3 tuskers. Now we see the officials carrying cobra canopies and brass umbrellas on the top of the tusker Mudunkot and the tusker Minuwangoda Kumari.
And the brass umbrella and the cobra canopy brings a sense of dignity, pride and respect to to this magnificent pageant of Kandy Esala Perahera. And this is the entrance of the Nayandi dance troupe.
And this Nayandi dance troupe is led by Mr. Sarath Ekanayaka.
Different sources of history have pronounced this deity and the Devalaya, built by different names, were one such evidence noted by the English prisoner Robert Knox had called the deity in this Devalaya as Alutnuwara Deviyo, who had been brought to Alutnuwara in Kegol from Devinuwara in Mathura, while another legend identifies this god as Upulwan Deviyo, which translates to the blue color god. And now we see the chief prelate of Sri Mahavishnu Devalaya.
And this is the sacred moment of carrying the godly ornaments that belongs to God Vishnu on the mount of the elephant Vijitaraja, and he is accompanied by the elephant Alapatha and the elephant Meekoda Chuti Manike.
Let us take a moment to feel the devotion and worship the godly ornaments of Lord Vishnu. And now we are witnessing the commencement of the procession of Sri Mahakataragama Devalaya in Kandy. And now we see the Buddhist flag bearers of Sri Mahakataragama Devalaya procession.
The Sri Maha Kataragama Devalaya in Kandy is one of the key places of worship that are dedicated to Lord Kataragama in the city of Kandy, and the speciality of the Sri Maha Kataragama Devalaya being the only out of the Satara Maha Devalaya or 4 main shrines that is located outside the premises of the Sri Dalada Maligawa, as it is located in the Kottakodala Vidya, which was known as the ancient Kavikara Vidya, where the poets of the king had used to reside during the times of royalty. Now we see the Hevasi troupe of Kataragama Devalaya that is led by Mr. P.V. James.
The Hevasi troupe of Sri Maha Kataragama Devalaya too is uniquely notable when compared to the other troupes of Hevasi due to the difference in its tone and tempo. The style of Hevasi is not just depend on the regional or the situational variances, but also varies among the several lineages that performs in this traditional duty. This Hevasi troupe that leads the procession of Sri Maha Kataragama Devalaya, that is hailing from the lineage of P.V. James Guru Nwanse, is distinguished for its faster tempo that is similarly unique to the customs of the ritual affiliated towards Lord Kataragama, and also by carrying the large windpipe known as the Kombur, which we did not witness in the other parts of this procession.
And now we see the elephant Podi Raju that belongs to Mr. Chamila Bandaranayaka that is carrying an official with the Buddhist flag.
This Buddhist flag symbolizes the importance of Buddhism and the relation of Buddhism in this procession.
And now we see the troupe of Chamara of Kataragama Devalaya. This troupe is led by Mr. Hasitha Ramanayaka.
The ancient poetic anthology that was written during the kingdom of Kotte, that is famously known as the Salalihini Sandesha, quotes the white tassels in motion along with the majestic elephants, are one of the supreme sights of visualities, and the Chamara dance is certainly an inclusion to add more value to this wonderful Perahera. Chamara is a popular upcountry folk dance that is one of the most visually mesmerizing dance acts of the Perahera. The Chamara is a white tasseled object that was historically as a fanning tool to the sacred tooth relic, and the sacred reliquaries and the prominent individuals, including the royalties.
Here we see an official carrying on the mount of the elephant Sandali that belongs to Mr. Ajit Galage.
And this is the arrival of the Nayandi dance troupe of the Sri Maha Kataragama Devalaya procession.
And this Nayandi dance troupe is led by Mr. J.J. Malagamana.
It is believed that Lord Kataragama is the younger son of Lord Shiva and Goddess Parvati, and is also considered as an important deity in the Indian subcontinent since ancient times. Worshipped as Mahasin or Kumara in North India, and is predominantly worshipped in the state of Tamil Nadu and other parts of South India, Sri Lanka, Singapore and Malaysia. Lord Kataragama is believed to be the divine force behind the ancient king Dutugamanu in his battles against the Chola invaders of the Dravidian king Elara. The present Ruhunumaha Kataragama Devalaya was in fact the commitment of the vow that was made by King Dutugamanu, who built the Ruhunumaha Kataragama Devalaya and inaugurated its Asala festival that commemorates the divine marriage between God Kataragama and Goddess Valli, and commanded that the procession needs to be held annually regardless of any circumstances till the eternal existence of sun and the moon. Unlike the other four Devalaya shrines, the chief priest or the Iyer of Sri Mahakataragama Devalaya in Kandy is not of Sinhalese origin, but is in fact an Indian national who is a traditional Brahmanic lineage and is delegated to perform this venerative task since many generations, where it was his father who performed this duty before him.
And here we see the sacred moment of carrying the godly ornaments that belongs to god Katharagama on the mount of the elephant Esala that belongs to Katugastuta Sarada Thero, and he is assisted by the elephant Hadala that belongs to Orutota Purana Viharaya, and the elephant Gamunu that belongs to Mr. Mahesh Vijayasekara.
And with that, we see the commencement of the procession of Sri Mahapatini Devalaya in Kandy. And with that, we see the flag bearers, the Sri Mahapatini Devalaya in Kandy.
The Sri Mahapatini Devalaya in Kandy is the only shrine of the Kandian Satara Mahadevalaya that is dedicated to the virtuous goddess Patini, who is also the only female representation among the guardian deities of the sacred tooth relic. This Devalaya is located in the premises of the Sri Dalada Maligawa, which can be easily reached via the Devala Vedya and is separated from the Sri Mahanatha Devalaya from the ancient Athvedya, which used to be the resting ground for the royal elephants.
It is believed that the Devalaya is at least 4 centuries old, and as there are written evidence of the Perahera that had been held during the reign of King Rajasingha II. According to the follower, the statue of goddess Patini at this Devalaya was brought from the Malagammana Patini Devalaya during the time of King Vimala Dharmasurya I. Even today, the statues of Malagammana Devalaya and the Kandy Devalaya look similar. This evidence suggests that the Sri Mahapatini Devalaya in Kandy goes back to the 16th century in history.
Here we see the heavy situ of the procession of Patini Devalaya. And this is performed by the officials of the village Kondadenia.
tune of Hevisi is believed to be spiritually healing and creates an immense satisfaction when being heard by devoted person. Interestingly, many local and foreign visitors find it very soothing within the Dalada Maligawa premises during the daily offering times or the Tevava, as the entire surrounding of the temple of the tooth gets filled with the symphonic sound of Hevisi, which dives deep into our blood and creates a patriotic feeling about ourselves, our religion, and our culture.
The costumes of upcountry Hevisi instrumentalist consist of a traditional headgear known as the Uramalaya, the Ride Kadukka, the earrings, Karatalla or the neck piece, the Punanula, the beaded chain that is cross-worn across the body, Bandi Valalu, the elbow bangles, Pachavadama, the red cloth, Beraredda, the white cloth, and so on. Now we see an official carrying the Buddhist flag on the mount of the elephant Ratna that belongs to Benkamue Dhammadina Thero. Here we see the pipe dancing troupe that is led by A.P. Sujit Asuranaba. Here we see the first pipe dancing troupe of Pattini Devalaya that is led by this Dhananjana Jairatna.
The male-dominated presence of artists that we saw previously is no longer visible, as we see the entrance of the female representation of the Perahera, which is indeed the speciality of the Sri Mahapattini Devalaya Perahera. Being the only goddess that is venerated in this religion pageant, this segment of the Perahera not just celebrates the virtues of goddess Patvini, but it also creates and celebrates the greatness of women and their value to the existence of this world.
Now we see an official carrying a cobra canopy on the mount of the elephant Nandimitra that belongs to Kirinde Ananda Thero. This is the second pipe dancing troupe of Pattini Devalaya procession that belongs to A.P. Sujit Asuranatha.
According to the legend of Goddess Pathwini is famed as the goddess of chastity and is considered as the most popular deity among Sri Lankans despite being the goddess of South Indian origin. The virtues of Goddess Pathwini are narrated in a Tamil epic named Silapadikaram, which was written in the 2nd century, along with several other poetic literature that was written in Sri Lanka during the 18th and 19th century.
On the mount of the elephant Muthu that belongs to Muruttaniya Thero is an official carrying a brass umbrella.
And with that we see the entrance of the Thalam dance troupe of the Sri Mahapattini Devalaya in Kandy.
And this Thalam dance troupe is led by Miss Dhananjana Jayaratna. The Thalam Potter, or the small set of cymbals, are a vital instrument used in all forms of traditional dancing in Sri Lanka and also in India to maintain the pace and rhythm of the dance that is technically mentioned as the Tith Matraya. But here, the Thalam dance considers these little cymbals as the main prop itself, where the dancers play the cymbals in the denoted rhythm, which aligns the footwork and hand movements accordingly. Now we see an official carrying a brass umbrella on the mount of the elephant Chula that belongs to Dhammadina Thero. The Kadunatuma, or the sword dance, is not at all meant to promote violence in this Perahera, that is meant to reflect the love, peace and care that is preached by the doctrine of Lord Buddha. This dance actually is meant to be a tribute and to illustrate the bravery of our ancient Sri Lankan warriors who risked their lives to protect Sri Lanka as a nation. This sword dancing troupe is led by Mr. Nishantha Sangeet Navaranga.
The shrine devoted to goddess Pattini Kandy is simple, small rectangular building on the usual stone platform. It consists of 4 compartments, including the traditional Kandyan roof adorns, golden entrance to the chamber, and the charming elegance that makes this Devalaya as simple but a beautiful shrine.
Now we see an official carrying the brass umbrella on mount of the elephant Parindu that belongs to Kataragama Kirivehera. Now we see the Dandupera dancing troupe that is dancing in Pattini Devalaya that belongs to Mr. Hemant Sri Ratnakumara.
As forementioned, the Pattini Devalaya is simple but beautiful within. It is the home to many devotees who flock to the Kandyan kingdom to worship goddess Pattini. In addition to the shrine dedicated to goddess Pattini, we also see a shrine made towards goddess Durga in the same premises. The current building that we see is believed to be built by King Narendra Singha during his reign from 1907 to 1939.
Here we see the Savarang dancing troupe that is led by Ms. Ajanta Kandegedara. Dance items which involve these tassels are used quite often in the Perahera, but this is not the usual Chamara dance we witnessed previously. This dance, which is recognized as the Savarang dance, is similar dance to Chamara but with a difference in the prop that is used. The Savarama, The main tool used by these dancers consists of not one but two tassels attached on both its ends, which makes it a longer version of the chamara instrument. However, the sabarama tool is meant to serve the same purpose as the chamaraya, which is to fan and cool the impending icon of worship, which was traditionally the king and today the relic casket of gold.
Goddess Pattini is known as Kannagi Amman in Tamil folklore, where we find many kovils in Sri Lanka that are built by Sri Lankan Hindus to pay respect to the faith of Goddess Pattini as Kannagi Amman.
Now we see an official bearing the cobra canopy on the mount of the Tusker Dang Ovitumanike that belongs to Mrs. Riani Gunavardhana.
And with that we see the entrance of the Nayandi dancing troupe of Sri Mahapattini Devalaya in Kandy. The cult of Goddess Pattini narrates many amusing stories, which are all part of the legend of this great goddess. One of the most interesting facts out of such legends is her birth story, which is popularly as Sat Patvini, where it reveals the 7 different ways in which she was born, which include the story of Goddess Pattini being born out of a mango, dewdrop, cobra tear, demeter flower, shawl, fire and lightning. The cult of Sat Pattini is also challenged with a different variant which illustrates 12 births known as Dolos Patvini Upata. And now we see the chief prelate of the Sri Mahapattini Devalaya in Kandy.
This is the sacred moment of carrying the golden statue of Goddess Pattini The carrying of the golden statue of Goddess Pattini is done by the elephant Giriulla Mangala, and he is assisted by the elephant Sita and the elephant Rani. And that marks the end of the 4th Kumbal procession of the Kandy Esala Perahera 2026. We hope that our country will be blessed with fertility and rains. May our country prosper.
Dalada Samidu Pihitai.